You're going to talk to us about a light.
We had
Item
met
number 5.
with the Washington State DOT on the traffic signals, not only at First and Railroad, but also First and Cota, with the downtown connector project and the roundabout that will be going in very soon. We have been seeing quite a few backups at the First and Railroad and First and Cota lights that are state-owned. We met with them trying to alleviate some of that congestion, hoping that they could do something with their timing. Those lights don't seem to be functioning very well together. Their video detection doesn't seem to be picking up traffic. Could be one issue. They did check on that, made a few minor adjustments. Didn't seem to help a lot. But we have been seeing backups all the way back to ProBuild, and we're a little concerned that if we increase flow of traffic through that intersection at First and Alder, that we may run into some more issues downstream from there. So we did contact WashDOT and ask them if they could take a look at whether the signal at First and Cota was warranted. Basically the same process that we used for Fourth and Railroad, which we ended up identifying that we did not meet any of the warrants for a traffic signal. We did look through that process, and it doesn't look like the signal at First and Cota is warranted either. It is no different than any other intersection downstream from there, from Grove all the way to Neyland, and moving downstream from there, downflow from there. And also moving north through that intersection doesn't seem to work with that signal. When it's on green, the signal at Railroad is red, so moving through that intersection doesn't seem to be working very well. They suggested getting a letter of support from our commission if you agree, and they would take a look at it further, but they wanted that letter of support to identify basically that the City of Shelton was asking for this, not necessarily just the Public Works Director asking for this in their process. So they are taking a look at it they've looked at it over the last couple of weeks and whether it was warranted or not. But would love to hear some thoughts from the three of you on what you think of that concept.
So did they try to synchronize it?
They told us that it was already.
Oh.
But they have some of the same issues we have. They have some aging traffic signal cabinets that maybe don't necessarily sync together. They also have an issue that when we changed Railroad Avenue, they went to a phased approach where they have a protected turn, which also alters the timing so that those two lights basically aren't running the same functions. So it's really difficult to sync those two together so that they are functioning together, because at First and Railroad you have a protected turn, which would be an arrow that you don't have at Cota Street.
That's a frustrating light on Cota. It really is, because we either come down Cota or we come down Grove. And when we come down Grove, we sit and wait to go across or to turn. And there's traffic back clear up on First Street,
Yeah.
going towards Tozier's, going towards the park. By the time one moves, one changes, then the other one changes the opposite, and we're still stuck.
That is the reason why we want to take a look at it.
Yeah.
WashDOT did tell us that normally cities don't contact them and want to take lights out. They want to add lights, so they found it a little unusual, but they did see the conflict with the two. And the close proximity they have to each other is a real issue also, so.
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
You suppose that was put in years ago for Simpson employees to get in and out, or?
Commissioner Dorsey, I don't know why it would have been installed. I don't know if, that roadway has changed so many times. Before, the highway it turned at Neyland down to Front Street. I don't know if at one time it was at Cota and then it changed to Railroad. So I don't know the history of it, but yeah, for some reason they thought it was warranted at one time. Yeah. If I had to make a guess at it, I would think that at one time that highway turned at Cota Street. That's why it was there. They just left it as they progressed north. but that's a theory and a guess at this point.
So are we gonna ease everybody into this? It's just not gonna be gone one morning.
I'm not sure if there is a way to ease anybody into a traffic signal being removed. I think as we saw on 4th and Railroad, you either have it or you don't. And at this point, I think the right thing to do would be to remove it. So, yeah, it would be, basically, if WashDOT deems it not warranted, it would be probably a day process to remove it, and you just wouldn't have it anymore.
I live on Cota, and I use that light, and since we talked about this, I've gone and just studied it, I've sat there, I've looked at it. I think it will improve traffic flow to remove the light, mainly because of how, just that one block, and that's the main, where most of the traffic comes. I would be in favor of removing that light. So I don't have a problem with that personally. And I use it all the time. And so is there any other questions or comments?
So right now, they are assessing it?
They are.
Okay.
They're running through their warrant report
Okay.
to see if it is warranted. They're looking at some crash data and some other things at their headquarters, and they are going to get back to us.
Okay.
This certainly would help moving it forward, the letter of support from the commission.
So, do we concur to sign the letter? Okay, so it appears that we concur to place this on the, place the removal of the traffic light at SR 3 and Cota Street, and the letter of support on the action agenda for May 1st, 2018. Thank you very much.